These are my predictions for UFC Fight Night, Plessis versus Usman. I'll be going through every fight on the card, starting with the early prelims and ending with the main event. So, without further ado, let's just get right into it. Alright, starting off the card, we have a last-minute edition. It won't let me click on this for whatever reason, and there's no info. But, I did a little bit of research on these fighters. Ezra Elliott seems to be a really good wrestler. He's also hanging out with Sean O'Malley, so I'm not sure. Maybe he's a training partner of his. But not much of a striker, just mostly a elite wrestler, it seemed. So yeah, he could be a good prospect, good for the sport. But Damian Anderson is no slouch either. Just all-around good fighter. Also pretty decent wrestling. I believe he was more of a submission artist, so you could watch for, he could try to go for some counter submissions on Ezra Elliott. Yeah, bit of a sleeper fight that they added to the card last minute. I am going to go with Ezra Elliott, but yeah, could go either way, really. Alright, so moving on, we have Anna Melisano versus Dion Barbosa. Melisano's a bit of a knockout artist, but you know, on the regional scene, so whether that translates over to the UFC, who knows. Barbosa's a lot more proven in the UFC, more of an all-around fighter, has way more of a ground game, which I think in this fight she probably will take to the ground, look for a submission, second round, I'm guessing. Yeah, so that's my pick. I'm going with Barbosa. Alright, so moving on, we have RJ Harris versus Alvin Hines. This is an interesting fight. I did a little bit of research on both guys. Alvin Hines is a bit of a berserker, kind of comes charging at you with haymakers, chin up in the air a little bit. He's a little bit open. But he is powerful, and I believe he would mix in some wrestling as well. So, decent fighter. RJ Harris was okay. I could be wrong about this guy, but from what I saw, I wasn't overly impressed. He looked a little bit slow, looked a bit plotty, a bit flat-footed. You know, he was knocking guys out on the regional scene, but, you know, I think the guys he was fighting were maybe a little over the hill, maybe a little bit out of shape. So I'm going to go with Alvin Hines on this one. This fight I'll be skipping. When the odds are, you know, minus 1100 versus plus 700, you know, I guess there's a slight chance, right, that this guy could come up with the upset, but I usually just don't even pay attention to these types of fights. I don't really know why the company, I guess they're just trying to build fighters, so they have to put on these, you know, one-sided beatdowns, but it's bad matchmaking if you ask me. Which sucks, because there's a lot of good matchmaking on this card. Alright, Felipe Franco versus Levi Rodriguez Jr. This one's close. This is a tough one to call. I'm actually going to go with Felipe Franco on this one. I believe he's the underdog. Yeah, plus 130. Both good fighters. I just think that Levi is a bit too aggressive, leaves himself a bit too open. He is a tank. He was kind of just bulldozing through guys, but I think Felipe Franco is a bit skilled, and I think when those guys, you know, when those kind of bully type fighters, when they meet guys that are a bit more skilled, and they can't bully them around the octagon, I think he's going to run into some trouble. So I'm going with Felipe Franco on this one. All right, moving on, we have Jean-Paul Labogiani. I don't know, I probably said that wrong. Versus Sukyoung KO. I'm going with Ko on this one. I think he's gonna get a KO, probably early. Yeah, I just think he's a really good prospect. I think he's got a lot of power. And from what I saw from Jean Paul, I think he's a bit older. What is he? Does it say their age? No, it doesn't. But yeah, I foresee a knockout on this one. I think Suk Young KO is gonna get the KO. So moving on to the next one, we have Austin Bashi versus Jose Miguel Delgado. Um, so Austin Bashi is a great prospect and an amazing wrestler. But I think this is too much too soon. I actually think I'm going with Jose Miguel Delgado. He has a huge height advantage as well, bit of a reach advantage. I just think he's going to piece him up on the feet. He's going to be able to defend the takedowns. He might run into some trouble early in the fight. I think Bashi's going to be dangerous in that first few minutes trying to go for the submission. But yeah, I just think Miguel Delgado, he's got a bit more experience in the UFC. I think he's going to weather the storm, and I think he's going to get a finish probably second or third round. All right. So moving up the card, we have Tommy McMillan versus Alberto Montez. I'm going to go with the hype train on this one. I'm going with Tommy McMillan. Montez is really good. He's got some great submissions. He's got, a crazy Darce choke. He's going to go for your neck. And he's a bit of an aggressive bully type fighter himself, but I think he's going to get out-volumed. I think McMillan's just going to bring that volume. He's going to outbox him and defend the takedowns, and he's just going to put a pressure on him like he's never felt before. And, yeah, so I'm going to go with Tommy McMillan. Maybe a decision, maybe a late third round finish, but probably Tommy McMillan by decision. All right, so moving on, we have Tabitha Ritchie versus Fatima Klein. I'm going with Fatima Klein on this one. I just am really impressed by her fighting style, and seeing her fights live, like, she's aggressive, and she's going to put a beating on Ritchie, I think. Like, Ritchie's got good movement, good, point striking, I suppose. She's going to kind of skirt around the outside and throw kicks, try to get points, but I think Fatima Klein's just probably going to hunt her down and eventually corner her and eventually get a finish, or maybe just a 3-round beatdown. But yeah, I would not be surprised if Fatima Klein gets a finish here. That's going to be my pick. So moving on, we have Chase Hooper versus Mitch Ramirez. I would usually go with anyone against Chase Hooper. I am not too high on this guy. I think he's a bit overrated. He's been on a losing streak recently. Suffered some bad losses. Last fight, I believe he got knocked out by, I think it was Lance Gibson Jr. So not even really like a top guy or anything. But I did some research on Mitch Ramirez because I didn't really know who he was. And man, this guy, I don't know. I think they're just giving Chase Hooper a layup here. This guy's not too good. He's throwing some Ben Askren level of spinning back fists out there and stuff. So I would not pick this guy. Then again, Chase Hooper, losing streak. It's not a great fight, but I think they're giving him a layup. I think Chase Hooper gets this done. All right, so moving on to the co-main, we have Jared Cannonier versus Christian Leroy Duncan. This one's actually tough for me. Even though Christian Leroy Duncan is a big favorite, I just feel like Cannonier might pull this one off. He might kind of do what he did to RoboCop, a couple years ago, year ago, whenever that was, and just kind of pull off an late round, survive the storm, and then all of a sudden, late in the third or something, Cannonier's just putting it on heavy, and Leroy Duncan, he can't handle it, and he goes down. I don't know. Maybe that's wishful thinking. Maybe Cannonier is, getting too old, past his prime. But, yeah, I just don't think Leroy Duncan should be as big of a favorite as he is in this fight. I do think he probably will win. I understand why he's the favorite, but you can't count out some of these more experienced guys, man. I think I might actually pick Cannonier to win this fight as, an underdog pick here. It's tough. I kind of don't want to, but my gut's telling me that Jared Cannonier somehow gets this one done. You guys can make fun of me if this is a terrible pick. All right. Moving on. All right, so the main event, we have Dricus du Plessis versus Kamaru Usman. I'm going with Dricus. I think Dricus gets this done. I know he got wrestled. He got smudged in his last fight against Khamzat, but that's Khamzat. I think Khamzat's just a different level with the wrestling. Usman's good, but he's older. I don't think he's as big as du Plessis. I think du Plessis is going to be able to get up out of those bad positions if he gets him into them. And, yeah, I think that's just going to be the story of this fight. I think Dricus is going to just kind of outmuscle Kamaru and start to beat on him in the later rounds and maybe even get a finish. I could see that happening, and then maybe we see Usman possibly retiring after this fight if he doesn't get the win. But yeah, I guess that's really all I have to say with this one. Usman, it's going to be a good fight. It's not going to be I don't think Dricus is going to dominate this by any means. Usman's definitely going to have his moments early. He might land, he is going to land some good shots on Dricus because Dricus does get hit. I just think Dricus is going to, he's going to eat every shot. And, the real question with this fight is if Kamaru Usman, if he takes Dricus down, and Dricus is on his back, flat on his back, is Dricus going to be able to get up? Did he make the adjustments after the Khamzat fight? Does he know what to do in those scenarios? Is he even capable in those scenarios of getting himself back up to his feet? I think he is. I think, honestly, he was a little overconfident against Khamzat. I think no one had ever really done that to him before. No one had ever really out-muscled him like that before. And he's probably made those adjustments, those technical adjustments, so that he knows what to do in those positions. And I don't think Kamaru Usman is going to out-muscle Dricus. He's the smaller guy in this fight. I guess their height isn't much different, but when I saw them do the face-off, maybe Dricus had some boots on or something, but he looked much bigger, looked a lot taller, just more filled out overall. So, that's going to be my pick. I think Dricus gets this one done. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. If you agree, disagree, if you think I should do these videos differently, if I should add things or change things, let me know down in the comments. Anyways, have a good one, and yeah, see you next time.